Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, so here we are on the daily. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. What's the daily showing us? Well, we closed out yesterday as another bullish doji. Again, no real momentum to the upside, but a possible show of continued support there and clearly some sort of pullback into this imbalance here on the daily. Now, however, so far this morning we are quite bearish. As we know, we have our discount below here, right? We've just about come into a discount. We have a bit of an imbalance below here that may attract price with this order block, but we have this obvious order block below here in the extreme discount with its imbalance that price may be drawn into here. So if we look at today so far, we've gone through our previous daily low and just about swept our previous weekly low for sell side liquidity. At the moment, that's caused price to retreat. That's caused a bit of a pullback during this London session. So we'll see that more closely on the lower time frame. DXY has also taken previous weekly high, previous daily high buy side liquidity and is also pulling back somewhat. Price could indeed continue going higher to fill this imbalance and any lower time frame POI, or of course maybe the bearish market will take over again and will continue going lower. Alright, we definitely have that momentum and that internal break of structure here, right, with closing below this low, though we do also need maybe more of a significant pullback, at least to fill some sort of imbalance here, or maybe up here more into the premium, right? So that's just the story I'm getting from the daily. We still have this resistance here on DXY, which is still holding price, right? This order block here is still holding price, and EU has slightly moved lower for some sell side liquidity. So we'll see if this sell side liquidity here and buy side liquidity does indeed produce a bullish move here on EU. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So for the moment, I'm going to look at this 4 hour chart zoomed out. Please be aware DXY for some reason on TradingView on the 4 hour isn't always live. So this is not live. We've already taken this previous weekly high and we are somewhat pulling back bearish. Okay, so we'll see that closely on the 1 hour, but bear that in mind. So we look into price here. Obviously we had this massive bearish move. Price has found some ground here and looks real corrective in this area. Okay, so possible signs of support down in this discount. Now, as we know, we've swept that previous weekly low and that's caused this bullish move right here, right from that sell side liquidity. We did have a little bit of sell side liquidity just beyond that as well, which has not been swept, but the previous weekly low itself should be a good source of sell side liquidity if it's going to make us pull back bullish anyway. So that aside, let's just zoom in for the moment. We do have clearly this massive imbalance here. We've only filled to about 50%. Now 50% may be enough, however price is probably due a more significant pullback, and depending on how we close out here, this may look like just a quick grab for liquidity in order to sponsor that move. That's not set in stone. I'm not setting my bias definitely for longs. However, we've taken so much sell side liquidity today from the existing trend line that was here and previous weekly low that I would hate to trade against it at the moment. There are draws within this leg here and higher up within the leg towards a premium that price may want to reach into. However, we're clearly in a bearish trend and price doesn't look as bullish as maybe it did yesterday. However, like I mentioned, we've taken buy side liquidity already here on DXY. We're still within the DXY daily order block and we've taken sell side liquidity here on EU. So for the time being, I wouldn't want to jump straight into any shorts just because the lower time frame may look bearish. That's just my opinion, of course, and my risk tolerance. So we're still very much within this deep discount. The 4 hour hasn't gone anywhere. We have now recently swept sell side liquidity. Price usually then would head for opposing liquidity, which would be buy side, which may be above some of these internal highs or the previous daily high, and then vice versa for DXY, you would expect it to head towards some sell side liquidity and maybe to fill this imbalance. So I hope that's clear. So let's move on to the 1 hour. Let's see what the structure looks like there. So onto the 1 hour leg, things look a bit more clearer. just because the 1 hour leg's quite clear with this high to low. However, this recent price action since Monday is not as clear as it was yesterday, right? We was making a low, high, 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 low, high, high. Now we've broken that, right? Taken all that sell side liquidity and broken down a bit on this internal 1 hour structure. However, we are closing as a sweep. We have taken sell side liquidity and we still have this draw on price up here in the premium. So I still think this is a good draw on price. We've taken a previous weekly low. There is some sell side liquidity still below that. Price may just want to continue downwards, but I'm not seeing any candle closes below that structure that it created here. So with the buy side liquidity being swept here, because DXY is a lot clearer now on the 1 hour as it's moving live, you can see we've taken all this buy side liquidity. It may now want to liquidate this trend line here and come towards its 1 hour order block imbalance as a price draw. So I do see those potential longs still. I don't think this price action is great for that, so I'd have to see more. I'd have to see the order flow come into the, say, the M15 at least. However, as I mentioned in this discount, I don't want to just trade short from a point like this after taking all this sell side liquidity, because I'd be very unhappy losing trading against some obvious sell side liquidity. So I would need for order flow again as well to close below these lows and come into the market to tell me that price wants to head lower. So I would favor buys from this discount with this sell side liquidity, but I'll keep my eye out later on to see if the order flow continues bearish. That's just how I would like to operate in this current situation. So just to summarize what's going on, buy side liquidity has been taken on DXY. We're still holding this daily order block. We have a 1 hour draw on price in the discount of its price leg with the imbalance. And then we have the opposite here on EU. We have sell side liquidity taken from previous weekly lows. We're in a discount. We have buy side liquidity draws here with this order block and imbalance as well. Just bearing in mind, my preference is to see more order flow to confirm my direction in price. I just don't want to trade against this at the moment. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that looks like and see if there's any opportunities for this morning. So on to the M15. As I was mentioning on a higher time frame, things just look a bit more bearish, right? M15 legs are bearish. You can see we've made this low, lower high, lower low with momentum as well, straight at the London Open. I think there was some small news announcements as well. Now we left behind, of course, a M15 order block around this area here, okay? Price may just come up and respect this zone, okay? But I do not want to trade from this zone. I would prefer, if the market does want to continue short, for this to hold and then we make a new lower low, and then I would look into something to maybe go lower once we've closed out here. But again, we'll be trading against some sell side liquidity, but this is what I would prefer to confirm that short bias. And the same for longs. I would need to see a structure shift to the upside. So if we play this out, what could that look like for longs? Maybe price is going to pull back down from here and sweep those lows again. Maybe take this sell side liquidity and then we get that break above this internal short-term high here, and then possibly some sort of corrective pullback to our lower time frame order block and imbalance to go long from. Or something like this may happen higher up in price here. We may break this high, come back down, order flow comes into the market again to go long. We have a break of structure up around this area here. Pullback might be more simple than this to our order block with imbalance left behind on the M15. Obviously some inducement from this pullback's possible as well. And then we can set our order to go long. Stop loss just below the lows to aim for the buy side liquidity highs here, right? Or 3%, which is what I would be aiming for. So I would be looking at something like this, or maybe from lower down here if we create some sort of support and then break out. Again, the market isn't super clear, so I don't have to jump into anything. So what I'm saying here is not that I'm definitely going to go long or go short, right? I will wait to see some order flow and possibly some continuations into the New York session if the London session doesn't play out in a way that I like to see. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.